Okay, so today is March 15th, 2022, and it's 7:08, and we are meeting the Hubbardston Community Preservation is meeting tonight, and we are starting at 7:08. So we are meeting through Zoom, so we will do an oral roll call. Sandra Barry present.
Alice Livedall present.
Susan Worth present.
Kayla Larson present.
Dolores Ordway. Thought we were going in line. Okay. All right. Dolores Ordway present.
Ours must all look different now.
Oh.
So the first thing on the agenda is to review the minutes of January 5th and February 22nd. So we'll start with January 5th. And Dolores, you were not present at that meeting, so you're unable to vote on them because you weren't there. Okay.
Yeah.
But everyone else was there. So did everyone have a chance to review these?
I did, and I appreciated you giving us another week or whatever it's been, month. I think they're fine, and I'll make a motion to accept them.
I'll second that. Susan Worth.
Okay. All in favor? Sandra Barry, yes.
Alice Livedall, yes.
Susan Worth, yes.
Kayla Larson, yes.
Okay. So the minutes of January 5th have been 2022 have been approved and accepted. We'll now move on to minutes of February 22nd, 2022. And let's see, Dolores, you were at that meeting, so you are able to discuss if you think there's any discrepancies.
I thought they were good too, and you can amend it after my motion if somebody saw something, but I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of, what was it? What was the date? February?
22, it was 22, 22, wasn't it?
2022, yes, a lot of twos.
Yeah, a lot of twos.
And there was a baby born, I think, that day. Was that the day a baby was born? At like 2:22 in the morning?
Oh my goodness.
Or something like that. Yeah, I'm quite sure it was 2:22.
On a Tuesday too, right?
On a Tuesday, yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so Sandra Barry approves.
Did we have a second?
I thought that Susan second.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I
Great.
did. Did I? I
Oh,
think so.
okay, then we're ready to vote then. Alice Livedall, yes, approve.
Susan Worth, yes.
Dolores Ordway, yes.
And Kayla Larson, yes.
Okay, great. So the minutes of 2/22/2022 have been accepted and approved. And we will move on. So the next, so I don't have my agenda in front of me from that point on. So so let's talk about the articles. We did at the last meeting did have Carolyn Reed here from Habitat for Humanity and her not her partner, but her someone else from the Habitat for Humanity. Her last name was Reed as well. Was it Deb? I don't remember what.
Deb Reed, yeah. She's
Deb Reed.
the chairman of the local project committee.
Okay, so they did present their article, their application for CPA funds for $25,000. And according to the minutes, we did accept it and approved it. So what we want to review right now would be the articles that Susan has written up for the town warrant. So did everyone get a copy of those?
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we can just go over them quickly. The Article 17 is kind of, housekeeping in the fact that we do this every year. We get the estimated revenues, and this year was a bonus year, that's for sure. The income was very good. So these numbers look fantastic. So Susan, and thank you, you did a really good job putting this all together.
Yeah, but there's a glitch coming up, but anyway, we'll see when we get there.
About the library roof one.
Pardon?
The library roof one.
Yeah, we'll get that when we get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fine. It's it's just an easy correction.
Yeah.
So anyways, we can just go over those. So Article 18 is paying the second installment of the loan for the Rainbow's End Playground. And the explanations that are down there are perfect. And then Article 19, this is the one you want to talk about, Susan?
Right, because I thought I read them carefully, but I just thought I'll look over the warrant again. And somehow the wording got changed from what we approved in the meeting and what I had sent over to where it was funded. I mean, it was clearly, we voted historic, it's in the meetings, in the minutes. And then I also had it in my initial request. So I would like to keep it the way we set it up. So like you said, I could just, if we vote that we want the warrant to reflect what we've worked on previous, somebody probably just didn't read it carefully, you think? You know, I mean, it's, and if you look at it, the history of it, originally it said in the town warrant, it said it could be either historic or undesignated. And then, you know, so I could see how somebody could say, oh, well, but it was clearly, is everybody comfortable with keeping it in historic? And I can just contact, if we, do we have to vote it again or just what? To get it cleared up.
I think we can clear it up. I mean, I'm just saying there is money in the historic to cover that.
Yes.
Okay.
Once we put new money in, obviously, if you look at the sheet, you know, we're only at 16,225 right now, but we can put money in and we'll still have a $7,000 balance after we pay that.
No, I think that's fine.
I mean, it's a strategy. Do we want the undesignated to grow, or should we try to hitch some of the historic costs with the historic bucket, which I thought made sense, but I'm certainly whatever everybody thinks.
No, I
You
think
okay
it's
with it?
fine because the undesignated really supports all the projects.
Exactly. And if that's bigger, it has more flexibility, whereas the others, for good reasons, have specific goals. So,
I would agree with that.
yeah. So
Does
is it, would you want to contact David and let him know, or how do we want to handle?
It doesn't matter. We just don't know. And I don't even know if we have to vote on it because this isn't. I mean,
I'll just say, oh, look at the minutes and look at the original. They were already copied in on the original one anyway. And I just thought, oh, I'm too lazy to, I'll just forward it on to you guys too. So they will see it at some point. So I can just call him tomorrow and say, oh, we discussed it and.
yeah,
we're gonna keep it.
absolutely.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Question for Susan. So the 7,000 that isn't it, you're gonna take from next year, that's gonna come in with a tax collection, or is it gonna be like transferred from?
Oh, no, it's gonna, in other words, it's at 16,225 now.
Yeah.
But after the historic gets funded with approximately 11,700, it would be at 27,970, and you deduct 2972, and you end up with approximately 7,000 and some change. So in
And does
other
it-
words,
Before or after town meeting? And does
it's
it
after
matter?
town meeting because the money doesn't even get deposited until July 1. It's
July
fiscal
1st,
year
yeah.
2023. Does that,
That's not a
that-
problem, right?
no.
Having a town meeting
Because
that doesn't-
it becomes, it's fiscal 2023 and we're funding it in because they couldn't put the money in until after the town meeting.
Okay, I got it. All
That's
right.
how they, yeah, I'm getting how this flows, and I use that
Yeah.
word in quotes.
That makes sense.
It goes
Yeah.
bumpity bump, but it flows.
Yeah, and again, will be a fiscal year 2023
Correct.
a
Right.
loan payment.
Right.
Yep.
In fact, I can go through that later if we have time, because
But
I was
that's fine.
just,
What I was forgetting was that it was a loan payment, right? Which obviously
right,
isn't due till it's due, right? So that's what I was.
exactly, right. So we're kind of
Okay.
ahead of the 8 ball. And then
Yeah.
on the housing, we already had it in there. Because there's
Right.
2966 and 25 was a shoo-in. So that was no question in my mind that,
Yep,
and
yep,
I
yep.
think
No, I
that'll
understand.
fly in meeting. Do you guys think we have to talk that one up? It seems like Habitat sells itself. And with
Yeah,
all
you
the
mean
good
on Article
people-
20? You're moving forward to Article 20, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, just, yeah.
I just had one question on Article 17. These are rounded numbers instead of the numbers that we've been talking about, right? Does that matter?
Kelly does that, and she
Okay.
uses the revenue from the previous year and then estimates. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's weird because we're closing out one year and starting another. But yeah, no, those are just estimates. But that's actually what they put in the buckets, I believe, because last year 85 was the number, and that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
all of
don't
these are
know until
rounded.
they actually receive it.
Oh, okay. because they're all
Yeah.
rounded up, so we won't. I guess
No,
maybe
we'll be
we'll get less
safe.
than these. Yeah.
We'll be safe. Oh, and I appreciate your spreadsheet, but I am just not fluent enough in Excel. So I'll crunch the numbers this way, and if you want to take them and play with them, oh, go for it. It would probably be helpful if you have the time and the interest. So I
Sure.
wouldn't,
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
trying to keep
yeah.
track of all the math, and
right.
so I
There's just,
started putting it in a spreadsheet.
yeah. And she sent it to me and I said, oh, I'm not fluent in that, but anyway,
Mm.
but you do need to know why things happen and when they happen. So we can chat sometime on our own too, if you're up for
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, and those were all the only articles we have that will go on the warrant, and they all look good. New projects, so I know we talked about this at the last meeting. Actually, Susan, and you were gonna look into the funds that we were gonna move over, right?
Right, and it looks, I mean, unless there's something that you know about that I don't know about that doesn't get reflected, we already voted to put the Curtis money back in open space, which helps that. And then the one that I had a question about, I looked at it again and it looks like it's surplus, unless there's something else coming down the pike that we don't know about for that.
What you mean for the playground?
Rainbow Playground is
No,
done,
it's
right?
done. It's done.
So that money, if that's one thing we do have to vote on though, to
Yeah.
get it back, it doesn't have to go to town meeting, but just we as a committee say, oh, that's surplus. And that goes back to undesignated reserve. So,
That's the
Yeah.
4,684
yes.
on your
right,
list. Okay,
correct.
you want
Should
to
we do that now while we're there? While
Yeah.
we're- Okay,
You want me to make motion? I move that we transfer $4,684.17 that was appropriated for the playground, but not spent, back to the undesignated reserve fund. Will that do it?
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds good.
I
We
need a
just need
second.
I'll second.
I'll second. Kill the seconds, that's fine.
Okay, all in favor, Sanderberry, yes?
Alice LaGuerre,
Dolores Dolores Ordway, yes.
Susan Worth, yes.
Hill Larson, yes.
Okay, so the only thing I'm going to ask is the Curtis Rec project, the 12,000.
Yeah,
So I have not heard back from baseball, but I think we should vote to move that back. And if I don't hear from them, we're just gonna move it. I'm just going to assume, I mean, if no one from that baseball committee can communicate with me, then their money's going back. Because no one's telling me, I literally have emailed them 4 or 5 times. Like it's just,
yeah.
it's just becoming a little frustrating. I don't know if it's falling apart. I don't know if there's a Hubson baseball anymore. So, but why don't we vote to move that back too? And
Thought we did we?
no,
That shows,
well,
No?
it's just,
if not, let's do it again.
yeah,
What did we say last meeting?
Did we? We talked about that one.
If they still
we
need
said-
funds, we can delete it from the warrant. Susan Worth made a motion to transfer
Yeah.
$12,000 left over back to
Okay.
open space.
Yeah.
We all
So that
voted
one
on it, yeah.
is set,
okay, so we
right?
already voted unless we hear differently, but I will let you know, Susan, if we have to pull it.
Okay, or like you said, it's on there. We can't add a warrant, but we can always pull it.
We can
right?
always pull it, yeah.
Yeah.
But in fact, I thought you just said though that it's not on the town warrant. We just tell Kelly.
Oh, right. It's
Right,
just
correct.
our committee, but it would just stay there but actually David Nixon has one of his goals is to clean up at the end of each fiscal year.
Mhm.
So we are in line with that. And if somebody gives you, say, well, how come blah, blah, blah? Well, that's he actually mentioned that at some point to me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was trying to be proactive on those. And they just, because otherwise, the sooner you get it back where it should be, and I think
Yeah.
you've given people ample time. I
know.
think.
I know.
I don't.
It's been a little frustrating, but that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that sounds great. So that's, really, that's almost $16,000 back in the coffers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, So I wanted to ask one more thing. So at the last meeting, we did talk about a payment that was for the library, whether it was the interior or the exterior. Has anyone heard anything about the library project?
Yes, they have done some interior work. Kelly sent all the backup stuff, but as you see the amounts going down for the interior work, it's basically 2 electrical. One was not posted yet as of January, but they are starting to use the money that's already been allocated, which doesn't affect, it's already set aside, but yes, they're actually working on it.
Okay, I hadn't seen any invoices or anything, so you're taking care of that and they're going right to you.
Just when I went down my list of questions, she sent me copies of the invoices. If people want them, great, or I could keep them in a file, or do you need them for
Well,
anything?
no, my whole question is, we're supposed to be signing off on this money. They're not supposed to be just.
Well, I wondered about that, but as long as, because I like to just keep track of it. I don't want to manage it, but it's just, for example.
But we're supposed to both sign off on it, and then that way we know what's going on.
That's right. And Alice, like, remember that thing where we were going through the legal expenses for some of the affordable community housing, remember, and the studies, because the numbers weren't quite matching up. So we went through it and finally figured it out. But maybe we need to revamp that process because
I think they need to be reminded that they need to go through us.
well, maybe we need a liaison for whoever, like Alice is obviously the liaison for Habitat. The invoices come through you and you help forward them on, right? Would you say, Alice?
Honestly, I mean, I'd like to say that, but I think that came directly from Carolyn Reed, did it not?
Right,
That
but
was
you
just-
knew what was happening with it. Did she
Yeah.
contact you before? I would assume, no?
I think I probably, I don't know,
I just think a nice reminder to the library trustees, because they're the ones who are doing it, that says, please send your invoices through CPA so we can keep track of that. We're supposed to be signing it off and they're not supposed to be going directly to Kelly. Because technically, if they put something in there that, I don't know, let's say they bought a painting, right? And they gave us an invoice for, a painting. That's not part of the thing. So it kind of gives us an idea of making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing with the money as well. I mean, we're not gonna, stand over them like a supervisor, but we want to make sure the money is being used for what it's supposed to be used for, because the money was specifically designated for certain projects inside for the interior. Remember the signage, the new
Actually,
light?
that's what the electricians were working on. It talks about exit signs and so forth. I can send those along. Kelly did send it though, when I asked, because I I kind of knew what was in the works, but it was nice that, oh yeah, that's what this is,
Mhm.
the electric work, so.
Yeah.
So should I go
Um,
ahead? I'll find them and send them along and then people can see. It's,
Well, I'm not-
or is
no,
that
I'm
just busy work?
Yeah,
Um,
I don't care about what's been done. I just think,
Yeah.
and I will send an email for future and I'll say, please send these through CPA. We will approve them and send them to Kelly. They shouldn't be bypassing us, is my.
Yeah, well, maybe they don't know what the process is, because I'm not sure that that's specifically on the website, is it? The financial
Well,
process?
if they don't, they should, and we'll let them know. I mean,
Okay.
they've done many projects in the past, so they should know how it works.
Well, when people come to us, we could say, and if and when this ever comes to fruition, please the courtesy of bringing the invoices directly to any of us, and then it could go on from there, do you think?
No, it needs to go to the treasurer. It needs to go in the
Right.
box. It's easy enough. And then
Okay.
that way we can look at them and we can keep track of them.
Okay, so,
Oh, we need to
I'll
talk
send
about
out an email. It's probably, I have an idea. I know who's doing it. So I'll just make a reminder.
okay,
So,
what were you gonna say, Alice?
I was just gonna say, you should tell Kelly, right? If she gets an invoice, to make sure we see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that would help too.
yeah.
She's
Who
only
is
here
Kelly?
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Kelly, what?
Who is Kelly? What is her role?
Brianne,
or-
she's the
She's
town
town accountant.
accountant who works
In Florida
remotely,
full time.
and her days are Tuesday and Wednesday.
Mhm.
But she will respond on other days, but you kind of have to gauge it so that she has time, I guess.
If you just
I
put a
mean,
policy together that is either when she receives them or when she's, when she receives them, she kicks them over to us, or when she's gonna pay him,
right.
we at least get a copy. It's not that necessarily so much that something will go in there that we don't anticipate. It's that you need, it's closing the loop, right?
Right.
You
Right.
see
Well,
what,
yes, but at the same time, what's the point of the invoice voucher that has to have all the numbers on it and we have to sign off on it saying we've gotten these receipts and everything, and then we send them to Kelly? They're bypassing that whole process.
yeah. I think it's a problem with Kelly, or
Well,
I
or she should have bounced it back to us and said, hey, are you aware of this? You didn't sign off on any of this. And we're supposed to sign off on it. I mean, for parks, I have to sign, I have porta potties, everything. I have to fill out this voucher. There has to be a copy of it, a hard copy of it. There is this process. So yeah. Yeah. So we just need to remind them of that. And I'll send out an email just letting them know, and I'll let the trustees at the library know as well. I mean, unless there's been a change that no one's told me about, but they're usually pretty specific about it.
That would be helpful for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine. Because when you go down and talk to the treasurer, she has that whole book and she has everything. She has to have a hard copy of everything. She has to have the invoice, she has to have all this stuff. So I'll meet with her. I'll meet with Sandy. I'll ask her if it's changed, and I'll get an email out to them, and just so we can stay on track, on top of it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's good, but I'm glad that Kelly did give you the receipts and stuff, so you knew about that, Sue. Was there something else we wanted to talk about? I'm trying to remember.
can I just ask another question, as long as you're talking about closing loops and stuff?
Sure.
Is in 2016, which is before my time, CPA, and maybe yours too, approved $50,000 for the Affordable Housing Committee.
Mhm.
We then appropriated, we extended and extended it, right? And then we entered into the study of that gravel pit lot and
Yeah,
the
right.
foreclosure cases, okay? So the tax foreclosure cases was supposed to be, we put 20,000 in those cases. It was supposed to be 5,000 for each parcel we were gonna try to take, because it was 5,000 to get the case filed in land court and for the attorney's fees, right? It was a set fee. So what happened with that is, it was 4 lots. One got redeemed before the tax foreclosure case was filed, right? So that 5 didn't get spent. And then the other 2 of the other lots, because they were under the same ownership and they were abutting, the lawyer said he could put in the same case. So the bottom line is, the tax foreclosure cases, we only spent 10 of the 20,000.
That's
Okay.
what it sounds like to me. Yeah. So where is it?
So the question is, I mean, these take a long time to work their way through. One thing that's very exciting is that of the 3 of the 4, right, that went through,
Mhm.
the little landlord, or 3 of the original 4, looks like we're actually going to get title to, one of which is completely wet, but it abuts, or almost all wet, but it abuts a lot that isn't, that's big, that's 30 acres.
Wow.
Right away. So this may be extremely valuable to our Affordable Housing Committee,
Mhm.
but I don't want to screw up the finances either. And it goes from way back when. And the other, so there's 10,000 there. The question is, we can keep it in I mean, there'll be other tax title lots that people want to go after. We have to make a deal with Ryan that if they get it, we would have first dibs as the Affordable Housing Committee, right?
Yep.
And there are not a lot of suitable lots around town. They're not. And there are some that they want to acquire for other reasons. But otherwise, there's that 10, and I don't know, so there's the question, what do we do with that? And then the other ones, the other amount, the other 30 was available. We were working to try to deal with the gravel pit, right? The lot 57 on Pitcherville Road for senior housing specifically.
Yeah.
And we did a first study I'll have to get you the exact numbers, but anyway, the first lump of money went to deal with the environmental issues. And then the town has taken over payment of that because it does need to be cleaned up. And 27,000 went to a feasibility study to determine what could be done on that. And we signed contracts for it. It went out, but the guy's on hold because the lead problems are worse than we thought. So we
Oh.
think we'll get there. So I could write you a letter explaining all this and say, can we, or since it's already been signed as a contract, is there anything I need to do?
No, so you're just really explaining how that 50,000 is being used up. And so this last 27,000, you have a contract. So
Yeah.
no, you're fine. Because I actually think we extended that
Yes, we did extend it.
a couple times.
The
So,
10 that goes into tax foreclosure, we could probably use for another lot. You
Yeah.
know, we keep trying, right? It may be the same purpose, it just wouldn't be the same lot.
Yeah,
it
and-
would- again.
yes, and if I recall, Tom Bracco brought that application forward. He was on the housing committee, I think, back in 2016. And so that money was designated to the housing, I want to say authority, that's not the right word. The housing
Affordable
committee.
Housing Committee, yeah.
Yes, yeah, Affordable Housing Committee to find ways to use it how you need to. And I know these lots were part of it, but no, that money was designated to the Affordable Housing Committee to come up with ideas for affordable housing and do things like that. So you should be all set.
Okay.
I mean,
Good.
thank you very much for bringing us up to date on what's going on and all like that, but you guys have been very busy working with all that. I'll be
Well,
honest,
it's
I thought
really
that money was
exciting.
already gone. Yeah.
No, we,
Alice, as of 2/17, there's still $30,629 in that affordable housing, which is differentiated from community housing. Community housing is the bucket where we're taking the 25K for
Right.
Habitat and where we took the previous 20.
what's the
And
number
so,
again? Give me the number
Pardon?
again. Give me
okay,
the number.
well,
30.
it's on the 2/17 and that's January, so it's fairly
Yep.
recent. Affordable housing has a balance of $30,629.63. If
Okay,
I'm reading that correctly.
yeah, that's right. So that's.
Oh,
the
wait a
20
minute, zero variance. I mean, does that ring a bell for you? Remember when we went around the mulberry bush on this a while back, trying to figure out what was legal and what was studies?
What does zero variance mean?
Well, it
Not-
means that it's gone, right? No, it's sitting there.
No,
Right?
It should be
Okay.
sitting there.
Yeah, it's sitting there. No, that's real money. That's real money then. But does that number sound right to you? So that means basically 20,000, almost 20,000 was spent. Does that sound right? It was 15
Yes.
plus.
Yes.
But
But
do you
get
think,
explained?
Maybe
Do you think-
I'll look up my numbers for what those contracts were, but we did spend the the 20,000 out of the 50.
yeah,
We spent 10,000 out of the 50 on the tax title lots. And then we did an original investigation of the environmental issues. And then that was spent. So what's left? That's about what's right, I think.
does that sound right? Do
I
do you
will look
think
at
the 10 that you didn't spend those reflected in there
I
somehow?
think the 10 is in that, yeah.
Okay, so but 30,000 is at least a starting place. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for eventually.
Well,
Right?
yeah, I've got to look up what the number was for the feasibility. study. Oh, I know what we did. We took the 10 back, that wasn't going to be spent.
Yeah,
We could do the feasibility study, so that 30 is right.
so that sounds right then.
Yeah, I hope that. I
Does
hope
that give you
right.
enough seed money still to do what you feel needs to be
We can
done?
pay what we've got out there.
Okay,
the
that's good news
feasibility.
then.
But the trouble is, we're debating whether to go ahead with the feasibility study. Because if the cleanup costs for the lot are gonna be huge, we'll work on the other lot we just acquired through the tax taking instead, but it's not as good a location. It's off Streeter and new
Westminster.
an old Westminster. It's right in the corner of the town, it's remote, right? Versus the one on Pitcherville has pretty good access for bus travel to, them. In other reasons, it would be better. not to
So
mention. So we're just, it's just kind of on hold at the moment, but it's been, we've agreed to do it. We just put it on hold because the test wells came back with more lead in them than we expected.
Hmm.
So it's not more lead, it's that it's traveled in the groundwater further, something, I don't know. I'm getting more clarification tomorrow night at our meeting, but that is right. That's what we decided to do, is we threw the 10 back in, which gave us the 27 for the feasibility study.
And
it's-
everybody understands the difference between the two housing. Community housing is the bucket and affordable housing is these sort of invoices.
Yeah, the
For
affordable
studies
housing
and
is the
legal
town
costs.
committee.
Right,
Yeah, and the community housing is the CPA bucket.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, though. I appreciate it. I've struggled to try to get it all right, but I'll send you a note too.
A lot of
Okay,
moving parts that sometimes we don't know about. Yeah.
Well, thanks for that update, though.
yeah, it's good to know. We've been trying to spend this 50, but I guess we still have 30 left. Not that we don't have plans for it. We've just hit roadblocks here and there. Okay, great. Thanks.
All right, anything else we need to talk about?
Do you want to kind of know what we're looking at for the future? I have a crystal ball. No, it won't
Well,
take long. But
go
I was
ahead.
just talking, go ahead. Did everybody get that thing that I resent with the starting buckets? I mean, I can go through it, or I can just give you the synopsis. In
Synopsis. I tried
okay.
I tried to print out that again and I couldn't.
Oh, well, as of 2/17, which is January 17th, 2022, so it's fairly recent. In open space, there was 11,800. In historic, there was 16,200. I'm rounding. In community housing, which is the bucket, is 29. And then in undesignated reserve is 22,494. And then, administrative, it went from 4,000 something to 2,000 because of the legal costs for the church. But
Yeah.
they were the grant, what
Yeah.
else did we do?
Yep. The
Help me
contract.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it all went for what it was supposed to, but it unfortunately just, usually we don't spend that much from admin and we can pop it back into undesignated reserves, but at any rate. So
Yeah.
once there's three parts to the process. I added in the surpluses, assuming hopefully that would happen. That means the open space, and that means the Rainbow Playground surplus. Added in the revenue, which, look, if you have that sheet from Kelly from January, it's $87,400, and that's been collected. And according to an article in the paper, that's only 70% of, which is significant. But I don't know, if they did 100%, you would be adding another, 37,000? So I don't know, but yeah, so I mean, I don't know, taxes, am I happy that taxes are going up? No, but I mean, it's good news for CPA. The state match this year was $30,130 because there was an initial one and a surplus.
Yeah.
So that was at 43.8%. So and we haven't even added in the interest. So the total between the revenue as of January and the state match is 117,530. And then you divide it into buckets. And then once you fund all of our articles, and I went through each bucket and I tried to do it over and over so I could get the same amounts. That means in open space, we start with 11,822. And we add the surplus and we add the new bucket and we're up to 35,600.
Wow.
In history, we start with 16,225. We add the revenue, we deduct the library roof payment, which is 4 of 5. We're almost out of the woods on that one. And we have a balance of 7,000. I can send this later in a synopsis form, or once Kayla puts it into Excel, if she has nothing else to do sometime. Don't be afraid to call me. I'm not that scary.
Kayla thinks in Excel.
I mean, it's a great program, but you have to be fluent in it for it to be
She's the
helpful.
engineer, she like his down.
So community housing started off with 29,000. You fund the revenue, and then you fund the 25,000 for Habitat, and you end up with 15,800. So once you get your new revenue, Alice, and we pay the Habitat out of that, you still have 15,800, almost 16 in that bucket, which isn't a lot of money,
Oh, that's great
But-
though.
but it's there, and you know there's going to be more there next year, and next year looks promising, as Sandra said. And then here's the interesting one, the undesignated reserve, oh my goodness, way down to 22,000. I know, we knew it was going to be tight because we did spend, but I feel like on good things. By the time you add in the revenue and you deduct the Rainbow Playground, which remember is like 30,000, what is it, 32 something this year, right? You end up with still 71 to 73,000, which isn't bad. So, you know, yeah, we spent a lot, and we know that we need to give ourselves some time to accrue, but we're not like destitute.
Yeah,
So,
great.
and these are estimates. I don't touch any of the real numbers, but I'm in touch with Kelly as we get to the end of the year, because she fills out a CP2 form, and we want to be sure everything lines up. So it's helpful. So we've done a lot, but there's still more to do, for sure. Dolores, could I ask you, do you know anything about if the church work is going to start first, soon on the,
I don't
I know you've been busy with
offhand.
other things. Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I
I know
actually,
that they talk about the sills and the door happening first in the spring, so I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. Well, Sandra, what were you saying, Sandra?
I was actually chatting with my neighbor today who is a member at that church, and I asked her, because I was going to reach out to Mary just for an update. And she was saying the same thing, sort of, Dolores, that they had, that engineering study suggested they had to do a couple things before they get the signing on, and she said they were working on that.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, because she was saying that the signing people really want to start the signing. So, but they have to get those other things done first.
Oh, is there anything else? Because I have an idea that sort of has to do with Alice's Habitat house. Anybody else? Or is there something that, okay. I was thinking it might be kind of fun if, especially from CPA, if our new person there, if we had sort of like a welcome basket. Do they do that, Alice? Do you know, is a, welcome to town sort of thing?
We had a mid-build ceremony a week ago, Saturday, not last,
Right.
a week.
Right,
where
March
she
5th,
came
right?
and we met, and it was really, really, really nice. About 3 of us from the Planning Board Affordable Housing people were there. A bunch of people from Habitat were there. She was there. Her daughter was there. She had friends there. Her minister was there. It was just like a little refreshments and a greeting, and it was a welcome in its own way. Now that's
Yeah.
mid-build, so she won't move in till June. So,
Right.
and she does have somebody that's on that, on my committee, the local steering committee, that has helped introduce her around town. But I'm sure if we sent her fruit basket or something, she'd be thrilled. I don't know what our, I don't want to get into the gift quagmire if that's a problem.
Oh, well, it's just, I saw the article in the paper about, there were several really nice ones with pictures and featuring the Monty Tech kids and so forth. It
Yep,
was all
yep.
positive in every aspect. But I was thinking it'd be fun if we as the CPC people and we've supported Habitat to the tune of 45,000, which, was a good chunk, and I feel is well spent. But what about if and I'd buy it like a little birdhouse as a gift or something, because it's a house. You get it? Or is that too goofy?
I think it's a lovely idea, and maybe when Alice, maybe you can let us all know when you're gonna move in, and maybe we can just present, a gift or basket or what have you. When they move in, just welcoming them to Hubbardston. I think that'd be very nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, well-
I've really tried to make sure they thank CPC, so the public knows, that
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
we as Housing Committee are grateful, and they definitely made a big effort to do that at the mid-build, Habitat, and it was,
Mhm.
yeah, and the lady was just overwhelmed with happiness. I mean, she's
Well,
like,
That's
one of the things in the article was she loves the outdoors. So
Yes.
being on open space, I thought, well, maybe we could like bring some
Birdhouse
maps
would be-
over, and the historic people could maybe donate a book, the Hubbardston history. There's two. There's the one from
Yeah.
way back, the Stowe, and then the more recent one. So just because Katie Young at Open Space last meetings was saying, sometimes people, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. And so if, as a community of people that are on boards, could sort of, I'd be a person to collect stuff and put it in, and then it could be presented maybe when there's a fine, is there a final ceremony?
There is a
then?
final.
Yeah, I mean, not to get
Okay.
into a financial thing. I
I'll
mean,
let
No. I
Yeah,
don't know if we
yeah.
could buy, I don't know if we could technically buy gifts through the CBA fund.
oh,
I
we
think
wouldn't want to.
We could individually make donations towards it if we'd like to, because I would do that. That's no problem.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll let you know. It's going to be in June. So
Okay,
it'll be after the town meeting.
okay, because that's a
no,
big thing, because we can't guarantee this is gonna pass at town meeting, because we haven't got a town meeting.
Oh, yeah, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
She has a backup plan, you know, which is ARPA funds.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
oh,
I don't
right,
want-
right.
I
But
don't
that would
want-
take time to get approved and blah, 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 right?
It's a really, it's, you know, and the committee's still working on raising funds, but our goal is 35 and we're like, it's 15, and we've worked pretty hard to do that.
Mhm.
So it just isn't, it's just very difficult this year, but, and it was kind of a shot in the dark, you know, it's our first project, right? But, yeah, I don't think we can celebrate till it passes. I do think we have to really speak in favor of it at town meeting. To the degree we can. I mean, it's their lift, right? But
Yeah.
we need
You
to
can
say,
you can as an individual, all
Yeah.
you want.
I'll get somebody else from the local project committee to help me. So
But I
this-
do think whether it passes at town meeting or not, we should still present them a basket. A
Yes,
welcome
it's
basket.
gonna get, she's gonna move in. It's been promised.
Yeah,
But if they don't raise the funds, Habitat doesn't have like the reserve fund for towns that don't make the goal. So
Yeah.
it's out of what they're able to fund in Massachusetts for the next year and the next year, you know, because they will not set the mortgage higher, right? So it's just a
Right.
loss to them. It's very difficult for them to deal with. So we're trying to make sure it works out, but I'll let you know when the ceremony is, and it'll be well after town meeting, so. You know, they the reason they build in the winter, which there's so much I understand now that I didn't, is the folk school kids do the bulk of the
mhm,
work, right? So they need to get it done before school's out.
yeah.
Right.
That's why they build all winter. Right? So anyway, I'm learning more, and I should have learned more to begin with before I get into this mess, but I'm thrilled that we're
Yeah.
It's not a mess, it's worth it.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. You know, there's actually, actually private citizens, they used to be able to, can put their name in as a lottery. And
You
because I know a
can.
couple of people in town who's actually had their houses built by Monty Tech.
Oh, well, a Habitat house, you have to make less than 55,000 a year.
Yeah, but they do a lottery. I mean, this was years ago. I'm talking 15, 20 years ago.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I won't say who it was, but I know two people who ended up winning that, getting their name pulled in the lottery, and Monty Tech built their house.
They
Wow.
look for a house to build every year, so they're a pretty good
Yeah.
partner with Habitat, but there's not always a Habitat house to buld. So
Yeah.
you're right, maybe the other years they just they've done a great job. It's really, you know, I'm not a aficionado by any means, but you could tell it was really well built, you know, the guys riding herd. And when we were there were a dozen girls from Bentley who were there because they were going to build the shed that day. They had all the materials all lined out. They had the construction engineer. It was just really exciting.
Yeah,
actually.
that is exciting.
They were so excited, these women. Anyway, I will let you know. I'll put it on the list. And I'll
All
make
right, that
sure
sounds good.
when they get their invoices, we get an invoice too.
Yep.
Okay. I got it
Anything
written down
else?
in notes.
So if, hopefully that passes on the 7th, and
Mhm.
they're gonna be closing the end of that month. So we want to get that paperwork going ASAP, right? Assuming it passes, the 25.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they actually have a construction loan so that they can
Oh.
end up, they're not like a regular homeowner where the construction loan has to be paid before you get the mortgage, right?
Okay.
So if it comes, it's not a tight, hard deadline that they be paid by that date.
Mhm.
But we do
Okay.
want to make sure that it's, you know,
Well, let's just hope, that one fella got up and was the really only negative thing, and it was, people were kind of looking like, you're really, not gonna support somebody getting a house. So I mean, he has the right to his opinion.
Mhm.
But other than that, I felt like it passed pretty, I don't remember the exact number, but it was positive,
oh
right?
yeah, it was way,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
very
Yeah.
popular.
But if there's something we can do to, I mean, as we just see people around, just
Mhm.
Yeah.
to talk it up.
Yeah, it did wind up being more because materials were more, you know. but,
Everything's more these days,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a tough
Anyway.
time, but it's gonna get done, right?
I do think that they're very good at what they do and they're very honest and they have avenues that they work for
Yeah.
decades to develop,
Mhm.
So we're late to the game. They want to build another house here, but we don't have any land for them. So
I was trying to talk the Open Space Committee into some land right up here because it's been on the market forever. And then the prices dropped and she says she'll negotiate and you could combine open space, housing and agriculture. But they didn't jump up and down, but they didn't say, well, no, we're not interested at all. Open space. And Katie Young happened to be there that night. And that's when she was saying that the representatives from various committees will be meeting, I think it's in May, because sometimes people are working on projects and then the other committee's working on the exact same project and you're redundant and wasting time. So to try to touch base and see if we can share, and that sort of brings up the basket again, if people, like if the Historic Commission could donate a book, it's only $20.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but still, but I'm just saying, to work together and you can get it done. So anyway, Kayla, I'll be in touch with you. I know where to find you. I think.
We're, as I say, looking at these other two lots, which we'll see. The owners have defaulted, so the judgment should issue and they should be ours, meaning the towns, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Whether they're buildable. The thing with Habitat is they don't do big projects, right? So they wouldn't do like, what we need is senior housing more than anything.
Mhm.
Supplement Hubbardston House, and they wouldn't do a big project like that. So we shall see.
Okay.
Excuse me. Anything else? Otherwise, we will see everyone at town meeting. I'll send an email out just to remind people if they have any questions. And I don't see us meeting again until late summer, early fall.
Okay.
All right.
Unless you want to do something in the welcome basket, but you know where to
Yeah,
find us.
well,
Yeah,
Susan, send out an email, let us know.
that wouldn't have to be a meeting,
Are we
No, you're
doing
right.
a table or anything at
Town meeting.
town
The
meeting?
fair or something, or what?
No, town meeting.
You
Town
did a
meeting.
table last time, Susan? Put
I
the
felt like
flyers out.
because it's in the hallway off to the side and Alice had a beautiful board on Habitat, which I guess would be worth it. Do you still have that put together, Alice? That
I do
board
have
that-
I do. I could update it.
Yeah, you
with
could update it.
real house and
And I'd be willing to do the table again. It's just people were there for going in, voting
Yeah.
and leaving, but a few people actually looked at the stuff, that past projects that we've done and so forth.
Mhm.
So I'd be willing to set it up, sure. And if you want to bring the board,
I'll bring the board. I think keeping past projects and explaining, because there's always a new group of voters, right?
Correct.
right.
what
It's not,
done.
well, it seems to
Yeah.
be a core. Because at one point, Open Space got the list of people and you can see that it's sort of a core people that show up. I wish more people did participate, you know, but.
Well, it's town meeting, it's not fall meeting, so there'll be more people anyway, but.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I definitely think that brochure that just explains what we do and some of the best projects is totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
No mailing costs and the people that
Yeah.
vote will show up, so. You know, and I'll bring my
Okay.
board. I'll do the board. I've got an easel and I'll just update it.
Okay, great, right. All right, so that's months away, so we don't have to scurry around though. We know what's happening. So,
All right then. Well, everyone enjoy the spring weather. Spring's at the end of the week officially. Yes. And Dolores, safe travels down to Florida. Anyone else traveling, safe travels. And I guess that's it. And someone want to motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
hi.
Aye.
Feel like an
Aye,
eye.
aye, aye.
All right. So the meeting ends at 7:58. And Kayla, just so you know, you can get those minutes out and if you want, but we're not going to vote on them for many months.